This is Robert Stearns. Hey, I want to thank you for tuning in. I really believe that learning is one of the greatest joys in life. And one of the greatest ways to learn is simply to have meaningful conversations, both with those who come from a similar background as yours, as well as those whose background might be very different. So my hope is that as we connect and converse with leaders from all around the world, that we will learn and grow together. If you're new with us, hit the subscribe button and we'll deliver the new episodes to you right away. So wherever you are, on a run, in the car, at the kitchen table with some coffee, welcome to the conversation. And welcome indeed, friends. How are you? Happy Thursday to everybody as we gather every week for Bishop and the Rabbi. Whoever you are, wherever you are, go ahead and sign in. Let's see who's with us so far. I just slipped out of a wedding. Can you imagine that? We're in the middle of Sukkot and I'm here rejoicing with the bride and the bridegroom. There's a song. How does that? Da 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 kol simcha. A beautiful Hebrew song. And the reception was in a tent. So I stood up, I made the toast. I said, do you know how perfect this is? You're celebrating this simcha, this joy in the middle of Sukkot in a tent. And who is here? Terry is here. Denise from Orchard Park. Carol's here from Greenfield Township, Pennsylvania. Hi, Kristen Harl Elliott. Ellen, where are you from? Great to have you with us. Laverne, as always, faithful Laverne. Happy birthday, everybody. Laverne had a birthday, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Happiest of birthdays to you, Laverne. Terry is with us from Columbus, Indiana. Hello, Mom, from Pennsylvania. Love you, Mom. Tony and Roseanne are there at Blue Mountain. How we love Blue Mountain. Please greet the mountain for us. Deborah Lester from Newark, New Jersey is with us. Diana Hogue from Southern California, Anaheim, California. David Krause, one of our faithful Shabbat keepers from Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Jennifer Goddards, faithful Eagles Wings partner from Lancaster. June Brooks from Bolingbrook, Illinois. What a great group tonight. My goodness. Folks, you know you've got one job. Hit the share button, please. Everybody hit the share button and get the word out. What a great crowd we have already. Michigan. We don't often get a lot of people from Michigan for whatever reason. So glad to have Michigan in the house. Old Forge, Pennsylvania is here. Hello, Janine Stefone. Welcome to you. What a crowd. Long Island is with us. Deb and Walt are here from Long Island and so many others from all over the country. So please, folks, help us out. Hit the share button on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, because I think we broadcast on both now, if I have that accurate. Somebody can text me because I'm not in studio tonight. I was at this lovely wedding. And so I had to slip out here into the side room. So yes, Ashley, thank you. We are broadcasting on both. So hit the subscribe or notification bell on YouTube and the share button, please, on Facebook. Now, speaking of Facebook, could you all do me a quick favor? I released an article that I think is one of the most important articles I've released in years. I'm trying to remember when I feel as though I've released a more important article, and it's called When Jesus Becomes Your Idol. And it's dealing with some very, very serious trends that I see in the church that really concern me. There is, I don't know how people can argue with my article because I'm just putting straight scripture out there. It's been a little humorous, sadly humorous, ironic, for people to, people have been arguing with me and actually proving my point as they argue with me. So anyways, if the article resonates. Several of you are telling me that the article blessed you. Would you please go to my public figure Facebook page? It's actually should be the one that you're watching on right now. Find the article and hit the share button. I really believe that it is a word for the church right now. We've never had response like we've had to this article. I've gotten dozens and dozens and dozens of emails and texts and phone calls. And I really do want to help get the word out. So please go ahead and hit the share button and get that out for us. Couple quick announcements, and we want to get to our very special guest who is standing by. What a blessing that this rabbi, folks, we're in the middle of Sukkot. This is like the week between, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And this amazing rabbi is taking time with us Gentiles tonight. It's incredible. Oh my goodness, someone wants to quote it in their college paper. Well, yes, you absolutely have my permission. And I need my team's help. Is it this Monday night? But we have a very special Eagles Wings partners only Zoom meeting. So if you are my monthly partner, if you are my monthly Eagles Wings partner, you are either a stakeholder, a Watchman on the Wall partner, a Key of David partner, or a Friend of Zion. Any one of those 4 levels. If you're one of our regular partners, would you please join us Monday night at 8 p.m.? You need to email Kelly, our partner relations director at the office. Somebody will drop in her email for us. I think it's kfleming@eagleswings.org, just to get the link. The reception is freezing up. I don't know. It's fine on my end, so hopefully it'll come back. But please join us Monday night. There it is. Very good. It's going to be a very, very important time together. All right, folks. Well, we are in the middle of Sukkot. This is a festival where I'll ask Rabbi Klein to help us. Good. Yeah, a lot of you said you've signed up. Don't miss it, folks. This Monday night, 8 p.m., this is only for partners. It's a closed meeting. We're going to talk about the future. Exciting things are happening, fantastic new things. And I want to share it just with my partners, because you and I together who are helping this movement happen all around the world. So I really need our partners to be there. We already have over 100 of you registered, which is really, really encouraging. We're in the middle of Sukkot. I'm going to ask Rabbi, but I think that this is the feast where you're not allowed to be sad. It's illegal. It's illegal to be sad during Sukkot. So no sadness allowed. And we're eating outside, and we're remembering that life is transitory. Life is brief. Life is a journey. So maybe don't take it quite so seriously. We're remembering God's deliverance from the hand of Pharaoh and the land of Egypt. And we have a wonderful rabbi. He's so warm-hearted. He just has such a heart of caring and kindness. Rabbi Alex Lazarus-Klein is with us from Congregation Shir Shalom right here in Western New York. Would you give a huge Eagles Wings welcome tonight to Rabbi Lazarus-Klein? There he is. Hello, my friend.
So good to see you. The way you described Sukkot, I thought you were a rabbi. Do you want to switch places?
There you go. Well, you're very kind, my friend. I have to tell you, every time I have the privilege and honor of speaking with you, I always have to think to myself of King David, because the biblical text tells us that King David had red hair. It says he was ruddy, and if you actually go into the Hebrew on that, it's actually saying that he was, has a ginger, complected. So you bear resemblance to your forebear, King David, my friend.
Yes, well, all great redheads throughout history. I can't tell if you ever had red hair. You might have had.
Oh. Maybe just a little better on the sideburns. But also your beautiful congregation, which of course we have a lot of our folks, not all. We got people from all across. Actually, we've got people who tune in weekly from Europe and everywhere. But if you are in Western New York, Rabbi, your congregation is right there on Sheridan Drive. And such a beautiful name, Shir Shalom, folks, it means the Song of Peace. So a congregation that brings the Song of Peace. Is that right, Rabbi?
Yes, exactly. It's our 10th year this year. I can't believe it. 10 years ago in 2012, we came together as a merger of two congregations.
Yeah, fantastic. And your leadership has been so vital, not only in that congregation, which has made such an impact in our region, but your leadership is felt and known all throughout Western New York. And we're so grateful to have you in our community and to have you teaching us tonight. Folks, Rabbi's in the midst of all of the busyness of the High Holy Days. He just came out of Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, and he's in the middle of Sukkot, and Simchat Torah is around the corner. And we've got all kinds of questions, and yet here you are teaching us Goyim, and what an honor it is that you'd be with us tonight. Rabbi, tell us, what are some of the key core components that Sukkot really wants to bring home to us?
Well, I actually brought some of the key components. If you'd like me to share them.
Let's go.
I have my favorite thing from Sukkot, which is an etrog. If you're listening on a podcast, I have to get it right. This is an etrog, a citron. And you can see it looks a lot like a lemon, but it is not a lemon. This is a very special fruit. In the Torah, it says it's a fruit from the goodly tree, from the beautiful tree. And the funny thing is the rabbis and the Talmud debate, what makes a tree beautiful? Mm-hmm. And they suggest it should be the pepper tree, because they say you can eat the bark. I don't know if there's any horticulturals out there. I don't know. Maybe you can eat the bark. They at least thought that you could. But they settle on the citron, the etrog instead.
Now, okay, so let's get this clear, because I remember when I was first learning, this confused me to no end, that a citron and an etrog are two names for the same thing.
Well, I think citron is kind of the general category.
Okay.
Which includes a lot of different types of fruits like oranges and lemons, etc. But okay. I think the etrog is this very specific thing. It's only used, it's not really eaten at any other time. It's only used for Sukkot. It's grown often in Israel. Right. Mine was shipped to me, as I told our kids in our religious school, from Eretz Yisrael. You can see right there. It has three things that make it very unique. First, it has two different stems. Sorry, it's going backwards here. It has a stem on the bottom here, you see, that connects to the plant, and one on the top. This is for the flower. There's almost no fruits that I know of that are like that. Secondly, on the etrog tree, there are all different sizes. We were talking about the movie Ush Pizin, and they want to get the biggest etrog. So there could be little small ones, all on the same tree. And lastly,
and folks, let me just say for everybody, if you've not seen this movie, I so highly recommend this movie. It's a movie specifically about the holiday of Sukkot. It's a comedy. It's very, very funny, but there are also moments of deep poignancy in it. It's called Ush Pizim, and somebody will have to help me spell that. Maybe Ashley or somebody can look it up or find the link. And Ush Pizim, if I'm right, Rabbi, that means the guests. Is that correct?
Yes, it's traditional to invite Ush Pizim, historical figures. And you know, it comes from in the Christian Bible. You have, that's one of the central stories about Jesus on Sukkot. He's get visited by different characters.
Absolutely. All right, but back to your story about the etrog, because so number one, it's many different sizes. Number two, it has two different stems, and the third aspect.
Well, the last thing is it never goes bad. It never rots, which I love. This will turn orange by next year, but it will not rot. I don't know of any other piece of fruit that will not rot. No fruit flies with the etrog.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like a lemon. So you can use it in a cake. You can use it in drinks like vodka. Some people put it into, but it's not. It's just not usually used that way. It's only used for this one holiday.
Now, Rabbi, one of the ways that it's used, and of course, this is one of my kids' favorite things, and we're lamenting the fact that we're not in Israel right now, but we walk around during this season, and it's not only the etrog, but there are three other elements that we're holding. And so let's start. Wow, look at you, right on cue. Folks, it is show and tell with Rabbi Lazarus-Klein. He's bringing us back. So now this is different, everybody. We studied a few weeks ago about the 7 species. Okay, let's go through and see if we can remember, everybody, the 7 species. I'm going to see if I can remember them. It would be the date, the myrtle, the myrtle, barley,
wheat,
olives. Is that right?
Yes.
Olives. Help me out, somebody. What am I missing?
Well, what are we missing there? We're missing a fig.
A fig.
And grapes. Did you say grapes?
All right, there we go. All right, I'm telling you, Kristen, Harl, Elliott, you are just so on it. Oh, pomegranate.
Pomegranate. We missed
there
that.
It was. Okay. All right. So Rabbi, we should not confuse the 4 elements of the lulav with the 7 species, because we're talking about 2 different things here. Even though there's some similarity, because 1 or 2 of those is part of the 7 species. So the 7 species, right? We studied this, folks, 2 weeks ago, are the 7 main agricultural gifts that Hashem gave to his people in Eretz Israel, in the Holy Land. These are the 7 fruits, grains that grow profusely there. And hey, Sheila Witham just signed in. Blessings to you and Dan. We appreciate you both so very much, Sheila. And so the 7 species, if you guys remember, I ran up to my kitchen and I got the little decoration. Most Jewish homes somewhere have a picture, something on the refrigerator, something of the 7 species. That's different than the 4 elements of the lulav that Kristen is writing in for us here right now. So Rabbi, take us through, because this is part of the brilliance of Judaism, is that prayer is tactile. There's a physicality to the prayer. For example, there is the davening, where there is the going back and forth, okay? There are the various elements that bring our whole being into it. So this is a very specific prayer that must be done holding the species. And it's one of my kids' favorite things to go into the old city of Jerusalem, and invariably there's some Chabad or somebody walking around offering the lulav. So Rabbi, take us through it.
Well, first of all, do you have Palm Sunday in your tradition, or is that a Catholic tradition?
We have Palm Sunday, but unlike the Catholics, we don't so much wave the palms. Maybe we need to bring that back.
Okay, because it's very connected.
Yes.
So you see the palm, the lulav, which is the palm, that's the center. So it's, first of all, I think that they loved it, because look at that. I mean, can you hear that?
We can.
It sounds like rain and wind. It's just wonderful. And we combined the citron, which you already saw, that's sort of the heart of it, with the palm branch. And we also have the myrtle, which is called Hadass. If you've heard of Hadassah, like Hadassah Hospital. So it's connected to that as well. And then the willow, or the arava. And those are the 4 species. They're not used for the same things as the set. This isn't about eating food, right, but it is directly connected to the land of Israel. And this is, I would say, the oldest ritual we have for the Judeans. We don't know where it comes from, but it was a ritual about this harvest. Wow. And it's one of the coolest things that we do. And I'm so blessed to have gotten this time with you to be able to show these important elements.
And can you show what they do? Because there is the kind of like shaking of them in the different directions. Is that right?
Yeah, so basically what we do is we take the citron, the etrog. Sorry, I keep getting the camera wrong here. Okay. And we put it side by side with the lulav so that the four species are connected. We say a prayer, al nitilat lulav, which is on the lifting up of the lulav. And then we shake in 6 different directions: in front of us, behind us, to the side of us, and up and down to show that God is all around us.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And of course, it's something that kids, because there's the sound to it, there's the physicality to it. They love to participate. They love to see that happen. It becomes part of the memory, for them in the midst of that, which is just so beautiful. Rabbi, talk to us a little bit about building the sukkah, eating out in the sukkah. What kind of spiritual lessons come along with being in the sukkah in this season?
Well, I think you really put it perfectly in your introduction when you talked about the intransience of life and how we have to find joy. You're at a wedding. At a wedding, at a Jewish wedding, we have a chuppah, which is the marriage canopy. And that's an intransient thing. As I tell couples when they have their celebration, like I had one just a couple days ago, that here, even in the space that could be blown away in our Western New York October at any moment, or September, where right now, we still have to find joy. And we know that we have each other. The wedding couple has each other, no matter what their home looks like.
Right.
It also reminds us of our ancestors traveling through the wilderness. They didn't have a permanent home. They were refugees. And they longed for a permanent home, but they found something of permanence through their building the sukkot, their sukkahs.
Well, and we could go in several directions on that, and I want to just for a moment share on that. Let me just say I see some more folks signing in. Folks, if you could help me right now by hitting the share button, I'd appreciate it so much. We're growing the movement of Jerusalem-based Christianity, a Christianity that is profoundly embedded in the Jewish identity of Jesus, the Jewish identity of the Apostle Paul, and the early followers of Yeshua, who would not have seen themselves as Christians, but would have seen themselves as within the scope of God's covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we are standing in solidarity and in friendship with the Jewish people and with the state of Israel. And I do have to, we don't want to, in the middle of this beautiful, happy holiday, get political, but we have to rejoice that the U.S. has passed the Iron Dome legislation that will once again, I know that I've been in Israel where at times where Israel's had to defend itself. And the incredible technology of the Iron Dome goes so far to keep Israeli families safe. By the way, all Israeli families, Jewish, Arab, Druze, all of the various ethnicities that live in Israel, the Iron Dome protects them. And we look at the 9 legislators who chose not to vote in that direction. We're thankful that it was only 9, and we will work hard to make sure that that number stays very low, because we believe that the absolute friendship and solidarity between America and Israel is so very, very crucial at this time. But the other thing, Rabbi, that I do think it's important for us to touch on is, and again, we don't want to wade into politics in the middle of the holiday, but past the politics of the situation, our hearts must break for the refugees that we see right now. It seems from everywhere. We have those who are trying to escape Afghanistan. We have the refugees and the immigrants from our southern border, and then also from Haiti. And it's such a moment of incredible need. And I'm brought back to one of the most foundational texts in Judaism, which says, Remember, you were foreigners in Egypt. You were strangers. You were the outsider. So you must open your heart. You must open your soul. And certainly we can have robust discussion and debate on the best methodology for that. But all of us in this nation that is so blessed, our hearts must be touched with compassion for those who are going through incredible suffering, fleeing the heinous tyranny, violent tyranny of the Taliban, the tragedies in Haiti, and the ongoing challenges in Latin America. Rabbi, what say you?
Well, first of all, my wife has been planning to try to help the Afghani refugees that are coming here to Buffalo. Our Jewish Family Service is preparing steadily. I think we're going to get 400 refugees locally. And my wife has been telling me about plans to put together an apartment for one of the families. Surely,
Rabbi, would you please let the Tabernacle know how we can be involved? We as the Tabernacle will make a commitment that we want to be involved in helping any way that we can.
Well, we would love it. Our Jewish Family Service is one of the 5 resettlement agencies in Buffalo. And I think it's a combined effort to settle. I think there might be a couple thousand that are coming. I can't remember the exact numbers. Molly Carr at our Jewish Family Service can be very helpful, and we would love your support, definitely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But back to the your sense of these tragedies in the midst of the season of Tabernacles.
Well, I think you mentioned the Iron Dome. When we talk about a sukkah, it's an actual place, but it's also a feeling of safety. We say Sukkot Shalom, a dwelling place of peace. And when you're talking about the refugees or the Iron Dome, it's about feeling safe. I remember in 2015 sitting side by side with your friend Perry Netter in Israel. We were there, was when we saw the Iron Dome in action. It was quite something. And I think finding a way to feel at peace in a really challenging world sometimes, and whatever we can do, it's the human intervention, it's godly intervention to try to create safety. And what better symbol than the sukkah?
Yeah, beautiful. Well, folks, we're having an incredible night here in the middle of Sukkot. I love to be in Israel during this time. Yes, Sonia was asking, do they sleep in the sukkahs? And some do. Some sleep in the sukkahs. I think especially probably the children love to do that, just like we do, like in tents in the backyard sometimes. Rabbi, we have just a few minutes left. Our time always just slips away. But bring us to one of the final kind of crowning joys of this holiday, which is, of course, Simchat Torah. This is my producer Ashley's favorite part of this feast, is Simchat Torah. And so explain to us Simchat Torah and what happens. It's the final day of it's the final day, I think, right? The last day or the second last day. Take us through Simchat Torah, because it's, again, a feast within a feast.
Well, the Sukkot holiday will be completing, but we have kind of these additional holidays. You and I spoke before about Shmini Atzeret, this special eighth day. And then we have a holiday called Simchat Torah, which for Reform Reconstructionist congregation like myself, we celebrate on Tuesday this coming week. And many other Orthodox and conservative congregations celebrate on Wednesday. This is a holiday which is very joyful. We finally put an end to the end of Deuteronomy with Zod HaBracha, Moses' very final few paragraphs. And then we start the book of Genesis again. And it involves rolling the Torah. And the favorite part of it, probably what your producer likes, is we dance out on the streets. Right. So in Jerusalem, all night long, people will be dancing, passing around the Torah. Unfortunately, because we're in a pandemic, we're having to think creatively. So we're doing a tour of the Torah we have 5 different Torahs, and people are going to be able to walk around and at least see them. we're not going to be able to dance in the same way that we normally would.
But literally, it's something to see in Israel that they hundreds of people will walk outside and in the streets, hold up the Torah, dance around the Torah with such joy. And Rabbi, I said, Shabbat dinner Friday night, it is just mind-blowing that the Jewish people have been reading the word of Hashem out loud in community for thousands of years. I mean, it is just extraordinary to us. This Christians read the Bible, but most of us read it individually and devotionally. We do have public reading of Scripture, but not in that same way. Rabbi, when was the actual beginning of the Parsha? I mean, obviously the reading of the Torah goes back to its giving, but did the delineation come? Is that from the Babylonian exile? When in history do we know that the reading of the Parsha began with its regularity in that sense?
Well, we know from Ezra, Nehemiah or Nehemiah,
right.
How Ezra read publicly for the very first time. Remember, most people were illiterate at that time. And a lot of what we see was the advance in technology. Writing was becoming, and parchment was becoming much more advanced. And so this was a whole new thing. The Torah is a crowning achievement, not just because of all the lessons, but it's a crowning achievement in literature. Right. And it really, in what human beings can communicate through the ages. So it's quite incredible, and it's wonderful to be able to celebrate. In terms of the actual books, until that comes later when they had books. They didn't have books back then, so they had scrolls.
That's right. Well, and of course, still today, the synagogues have the scrolls, and this is one of the great joys, and so beautiful to see. What is the name of those who are trained to write? Is it Sephirot that are trained?
Sofer. Yeah, if you go on top of Masada, you'll see the Sofer working there.
Right. Fantastic. Well, folks, just an amazing night together here in the midst of the time where we have to be happy. Only happiness allowed during this feast. And so we are rejoicing during Sukkot. And I'm coming from this beautiful wedding. And so glad to be here with all of you. Some quick reminders, folks. Number one, if you have not yet become a partner, would you please join me? Would you please join so many who are here who are already partners? Folks, if you're already a partner, you might want to encourage folks to join. We cannot do this alone. We have a global vision. We have a vast vision. And we believe that we're living in a time of the restoration of what truly was it like in the book of Acts? What was the understanding of those early few decades of followers after Jesus, and how can we understand his message from a Jewish context? So become a partner today. The link is there. We cannot do this by ourselves. We are growing. The needs are growing. We have our Abraham's Bed feeding centers in Israel, our 2 centers, one in Jerusalem, one in the Sea of Galilee. We're feeding about 500 people a week. We're getting ready to bring our pastor's trip over in February. So thank you. Thank you so much, Ellen and Carol, and those who are saying that they already. Thank you, Roseanne, who are partners. Now, listen, this Monday, if somebody could put that information in, Monday night for partners only. This is a closed meeting. We already have over 100 of you registered. I'm going to be laying out the vision for the next 2 years, where we're moving as an organization, as a movement. You will not want to miss this. Also, I just realized, I don't have this information, and that really upsets me. I'm so honored to have been invited by Stand With Us. I'm one of the only Christians invited in this wonderful, huge musical celebration that's happening globally. The president of Israel is going to be hosting us, and the prime minister. And they're going to get that information tomorrow out to us. So be looking for that. It's going to be live. It's all of the cantors, the best Israeli and Jewish musicians from all over the world. And then they asked myself to sing, and I know Pat Boone is singing, and one or two others. So that's going to be very, very special. I apologize that I don't have that in front of me. Go to my Public Figure Facebook page, and that article, When Jesus Becomes an Idol, if you read it and agree with it, please hit the share button, because we want to spread that. If you read it and don't agree with it, tell me why, and let's have a conversation about it, because I certainly can learn from you, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. This Sunday, I'll be preaching at the Tabernacle at 10 a.m. and cannot wait to be together as our church. Oh, there we are. We found it. Thank you so much, whoever wonderful person just did that. September 26th at 6 p.m., standwithus.com, the Interfaith Alliance concert. It's really going to be quite something. The president of Israel, who I had the privilege of working with personally many years back when we together launched the Knesset Christian Allies Caucus, Bougie Herzog, I shouldn't call him Bougie anymore, he's the president now, Isaac Herzog, is going to be there, and many, many others. So, but tonight we have had the incredible privilege of being with this amazing Rabbi Lazarus-Klein. And Rabbi, as you take us out, just give us some final thoughts for Sukkot. We're coming into the last, few days, and then we come into Simchat Torah. Just bring us out with some final inspiration.
Well, we're halfway there, and as you said, this is the time of joy. It's been really hard during the pandemic for us to feel full joy, but we need to, because just being alive, just being able to talk with you today is so joyful, and I feel very inspired. So thank you so much for having me, really.
It's always, always sincerely our privilege and joy. And Rabbi, we never want to do anything that's uncomfortable, but for folks who are local, because many of our folks are, and you are they able to drop in occasionally at a service to if they've never experienced a service?
Sure, we've had parishioners of yours who've come. They can come anytime. We have many Christians that come to our services, and people of various religions. It's open. Only on High Holy Days do we have ticket collecting. Every other time, you might want to, because of the pandemic and security that we have, you might want to
call ahead,
email me or call me directly. Yes.
Yeah.
Just wonderful. To give a heads up.
Folks, it's been a joy to be together. I thank God for each and every one of you. You're such a special part of this family. And what a joy we have, what a privilege we have at this moment in history, this moment that has seen the rebirth of the state of Israel, the regathering of the exiles from 106 nations of the world, the rebirth of spoken Hebrew, the reunification of the city of Jerusalem, the recognition of that capital by the United States, the Abraham Accords beginning to bring beautiful harmony between Israel and her Muslim forward-thinking, modern-thinking neighbors. There is much to rejoice in, even in the midst of the instability, even in the midst of the difficulty. There is much to rejoice in, and Rabbi has helped us to find that and to see that tonight. So thank you all, each and every one of you, for being here. Chag Sameach, as we say. Happy Sukkot, Chag Sameach. And remember, everybody, keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem. God bless. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.